David from Chicago. You said last week that Seth and Punk was a good pull-apart brawl, which it was a great one, actually, which had me thinking, what are some of the top pull-apart brawls in wrestling history? Oh, that's an easy one. John Cena and Brock Lesnar in 2012 after Brock came back to the company. The one where Cena's mouth ended up all bloody. That may be, honestly, the best one that I've ever seen. I've watched that so many times. It's got like 200 million views on YouTube. 100 million of that is probably from me. So that one, to me, is at the top of the list. Stone Cold and Mike Tyson on Raw in 1998. That's right up there with it. You know, for its significance alone. And you got JR's iconic call, Tyson and Austin, all hell is broken loose. By God. I can remember, I'll tell you what I remember. I remember watching the local news the very next night here in New York. It was Roz Abrams. She was anchoring Channel 7 Eyewitness News, and they had a report on that. They were reporting on wrestling on the evening news, and it wasn't because somebody died or was on trial. It was amazing. That was unbelievable to me. Lesnar and The Undertaker, they had one. I want to say 2015. That was great. And you know what? I'll throw this one in there too. The match itself may not have been anything great, but that entire segment with Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Ronda Rousey, where they all got handcuffed and taken away, and then they kept brawling into the parking lot, and they placed Becky and Ronda in the back of the same squad car, both of them in handcuffs. And they kind of slowly turn and they look at one another, and there's like a brief pause, and then they just start kicking at each other, and Ronda kicks the window out. They get Becky out of there. Ronda sticks her head through the window. She's talking shit. They're carrying Becky away to another car. And then here comes Charlotte, right? Hands behind her back, and she just knees Ronda right in the head. And I laughed my ass off. Like, the way they shot this, like, that was a great one, too. I think that one has to be on the list. Impressive from Jamaica, Queens. My question is in regards to Samantha Irvin and if she happens to join AEW as Ricochet's manager. Not knowing if she can play a heel or not, just from what we know of her, would you want to see her come in as a heel like Sensational Sherry or playing more of the Miss Elizabeth role? Now, she's got to be more like Sherry than Elizabeth. She's got to be a heel manager and someone who's not afraid to get physical and maybe take a bump or two. You know, I mean, I think she did start out training to be a wrestler at the beginning. It didn't work out, so she ended up as a ring announcer. I don't want to see her as like the timid Miss Elizabeth who sort of cowers in the corner. Like, no, I want to see her go like balls out as a heel manager, and trip people up and smack people across the face and be like, oh, I'm a woman, you can't touch me. And like really, get people hot at her. That's the kind of heel I would want her to be. Is it going to work? I don't know. I've never seen her as a heel. I'd like to see her try, though. If they bring her in, I hope that's the role they give her. Brian from Reno, Nevada. With the announcement of several inductees to the 2025 WWE Hall of Fame, it made me wonder why Ivan Koloff is still absent. I'm pretty sure every other champion from the pre-Hogan era is in at this point. Rogers, Bruno, Pedro. Don't forget Backlund. He worked everywhere and was a top heel wherever he went. What gives? That is a good question. I don't know. It's like you said, every pre-Hogan era WWE champion is already in, including, you forgot one in Stan Stasiak. Right? He had God, how long was his run as champion? It wasn't that long. I mean, he may have been champion for like a week or 2 weeks. Just to transition the title from Pedro Morales back to Bruno Sammartino, they put Stasiak in the legacy wing of the Hall of Fame a few years ago. I remember that because his son, Sean Stasiak, pitched a fit because he thought it was very disrespectful. He was very upset that his father didn't get a proper Hall of Fame induction. They just kind of threw him into the legacy wing. Koloff is the man who ended Bruno's first title reign. Like one of the most legendary moments in the history of the business. He should be in for that alone. Almost 3,000 days Bruno lasted as champion before Koloff beat him. Now, Koloff only held the title for like 3 weeks, but that's 2 weeks longer than Stasiak did. right? Or at least a week or two longer than Stasiak did, and he's in. So I don't know. I really don't understand that one. Daniel from Hamburg with a buy, sell, and rent on these matches that could have happened but didn't. Undertaker against Sting at WrestleMania 27. Daniel Bryan against Shawn Michaels sometime around 2013. Or Shawn Michaels against AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble in 2017. Yeah, that was a rumor that just spiraled out of control. Somebody put together a poster and everybody freaked out thinking that there was a chance it was legitimate. I don't think it ever came close to happening, but it's too bad that it didn't, because it was only a year later that Shawn came out of retirement for that fucking Saudi match that just absolutely sucked. So imagine a year earlier if he would have come back but for a match with AJ, right? That would have been something. But then again, Royal Rumble 2017, we wouldn't have gotten the Cena AJ match where Cena won number 16, which was a pretty great match. I'm going to go Undertaker Sting has got to be number one. Just the mystique around it and everything. Like, I was disappointed when it didn't happen. So Undertaker and Sting would be number one. I'm going to buy on that. I'm going to rent on Shawn and AJ. And I'm going to sell on Shawn and Daniel Bryan. Which doesn't mean that I wouldn't want to see that match. But in this ranking, I would put that at number 3. Brandon from Long Island. Out of these 3 dream matches, which one would you want to see the most? The Rock versus Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin against Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart against Kurt Angle. Oh, gee, I wonder. Bret and Kurt, that's going to be number 1 for me. Austin and Hogan would be number 2. I mean, Austin and Hogan would by far be the biggest match out of any of these 3. But if you're asking me which one would I personally want to see the most, Bret Hart and Kurt Angle. Stone Cold and Hogan number 2, Rock and Shawn Michaels in number 3.